Your true gift does not lie in always being available, but in remaining authentic. Today, I want to open a door for you. A door most people walk past, afraid of what waits behind it. But you are here because something inside you already knows. The old way of loving no longer works. So I'll take your hand and lead you, step by step, through 3 invisible movements that will make him unable to resist you. Not because you play a game, but because you awaken something ancient in him. You will touch the part of his soul that craves connection, the part that wants to seek you out, listen to you, and keep you close in ways he doesn't yet understand. And before that familiar voice in your mind says, "Please, I've tried everything. Nothing ever works. Let me stop you for just a moment." Breathe. What you are about to hear has nothing to do with manipulation or pretending to be someone else. It's not about texting rules, disappearing acts, or tricks that make him panic. This is about remembering your original frequency, the one you were born with before the world told you to shrink, to prove, to perform. Because you see, desire isn't about what you give him. It's about what he feels when he's around you. And that feeling is born from your authenticity, your energy, your rhythm. This message is for the woman who has lived enough to know what she will never tolerate again. For the woman between 40 and 60, who has already walked through fire, raised children, buried illusions, and now stands in front of the mirror, wondering where that spark went. It's still there, hidden under years of giving too much, forgiving too fast, and forgetting yourself in the process. And if you're younger, stay here, too, because the wisdom I'm about to share will save you years of heartbreak. It will keep you from pouring your soul into men who only want fragments of you. It will show you how to become a woman whose energy makes the right man rise. But before we dive into this truth, I need a small promise from you. If something in these words touches your heart, don't keep it to yourself. Like this video, subscribe to Heartsync X, and share it with a woman you love, the one who quietly wonders if she's still worth being desired, the one who jokes about giving up on love, or the one who's strong on the outside, but aching for tenderness inside. Because what we are awakening here isn't vanity, it's life. Now listen closely, because what comes next can shift everything. If you stay with me until the end, you'll not only understand these 3 movements that make a man call, text, and long for you, you'll discover the hidden 4th force I never put in the title. The one that transforms attraction into devotion. It's not a trick. It's a vibration, a way of being that turns your presence into something unforgettable. I speak not as a theorist, but as someone who has spent over 20 years watching the dance between men and women unfold in therapy rooms, at kitchen tables, in moments of silence where hearts finally reveal their truth. I've seen extraordinary intelligent women twist themselves into knots, trying to keep the attention of men who hadn't earned their time. I've seen queens take off their crowns, kneel down, and beg for crumbs of affection from men who barely deserve their gaze. And the most painful part? Most of those men had no idea what treasure they were holding. But I've also witnessed the opposite. Women who, at first glance, seemed ordinary. No glamorous facade, no perfectly edited lives. Yet somehow, men couldn't stop thinking about them. They'd circle back, again and again, like planets drawn to a gravitational field they couldn't resist. These women weren't chasing. They weren't proving. They were radiating. What was their secret? Not beauty, not age, not status. Something deeper, quieter, infinitely more powerful. The kind of authenticity that shines through the cracks. These are women whose lives are etched into their skin, stretch marks like sacred maps, laughter lines like traces of sunlight, eyes carrying the weight and wonder of everything they've lived. They don't hide their scars. They name them. They don't chase validation. They breathe in truth. So the question becomes, what did these women have that others didn't? It's simpler than you think. And yet, it changes everything. Their magnetism wasn't built on youth or perfection, but on inner pulse. A rhythm that says, I know who I am, and I don't need you to remind me. Science, in its own way, confirms this mystery. The male brain is wired around reward. When he feels that he's achieved something rare, something not everyone can reach, his chemistry rewards him with dopamine, the hormone that fuels desire and pursuit. It's not poetry, it's biology. And when you understand that, you begin to see why giving everything too soon extinguishes his fire. Most women, unknowingly, destroy the field of attraction by being too generous too early. They offer their presence before it's been earned. They solve problems before they're asked. They reply before he even finishes typing. They remove every mystery, every unknown, and when nothing is left to discover, curiosity dies. It's like opening every gift on the first night. The excitement fades. The magic dissolves. What I want to teach you is how to restore that magic. Not by playing games, but by returning to your essence. By becoming once again a landscape he longs to explore, not a territory he's already mapped. This isn't manipulation. This is dignity dressed as magnetism. It's not about acting cold or pretending not to care. It's about understanding that real attraction comes from self-possession, from being a woman whose energy says, I choose you, but I do not need you to exist. That is the kind of energy that draws in conscious men, the ones who are not intimidated by depth, but inspired by it. And that is where our journey begins. When I say your energy is your language, I mean it literally. You can speak 1,000 words, but what truly reaches a man is not what you say. It's what your presence communicates. Your posture, your pauses, the way you carry silence, the way your eyes wander when you're thinking. These are the signals that speak to his unconscious mind. A man doesn't fall for your words. He falls for the feeling you create when you're near him. And that feeling, my dear, is born from how rooted you are in yourself. This is why you must stop offering your soul on a silver tray. Stop giving everything before he's earned the right to receive it. You cannot be a mystery if you keep translating every secret inside you. You cannot be magnetic if you are constantly explaining your worth. The first movement, the pulse that reawakens his curiosity, begins when you become the woman I call unpredictable. In truth, not chaotic, not moody, not manipulative, but mysterious in the most elegant, grounded way. Think about what captures a man's attention for hours. It's not perfection. It's unpredictability. He can sit through a game, a poker match, or a mystery movie for hours because he doesn't know what's going to happen next. Each move, each turn of the wheel, opens a new possibility. That's what excites him, the thrill of the unknown. So ask yourself, have I become too predictable? Do I reply to every message within seconds? Do I always say yes, even when my heart says no? Do I show up the same way, day after day, as though my life revolves around his timing? If the answer is yes, then part of his curiosity has already gone silent. To be unpredictable is to be alive, to be a river that flows differently each day, but remains true to its source. It's not about withholding love, but about expressing it with rhythm and texture. Let me tell you a story. There was a woman named Sophia, an architect from Bogota, brilliant, graceful, 52 years old. She had been in a relationship for 3 draining years. Her partner called only when he wanted comfort, company, or a warm body beside him. Never once did he call just to say, "I miss you." She felt unseen, like a background song he no longer heard. When she came to me, I didn't tell her to play games or punish him. I told her to break the pattern. For 2 weeks, she changed her rhythm completely. One day, she replied instantly. The next, she left her phone untouched for hours. One weekend, she canceled plans to spend time with friends instead. Another night, she surprised him by showing up with a bottle of wine, laughing with genuine joy. By the end of the first week, something shifted. The man who had grown indifferent began to act restless, uneasy. He called more often, texted, sent flowers, asked questions, not out of control, but out of awakening. His primal mind sensed what his ego could not name. He was no longer sure he had her. And yet the most beautiful part wasn't his reaction, it was hers. For the first time in years, she wasn't waiting for his messages. She was dancing again. She signed up for salsa classes, started painting, met old friends. In rediscovering herself, she remembered who she was before she started trying to be enough. That's the paradox. When you stop living for his attention returns to you. When you stop chasing, you begin to attract. True unpredictability isn't a mask. It's authenticity in motion. It's remembering that you are not a single note, but a symphony. You can be soft and fierce, quiet and playful, nurturing and independent, all in the same day. The mistake most women make is thinking consistency means sameness. It doesn't. A woman can be consistent in her truth and still full of surprise. A flower doesn't bloom the same way every morning, yet its essence never changes. When you allow your moods, your curiosity, your passions to breathe, you become a living mystery. A man can never say, "I already know her completely." He feels the pull to discover more. Because the truth is, men don't lose interest because you're not enough. They lose interest because there's nothing left to explore. Imagine a novel. If you already know how it ends, you close the book. But if each chapter brings new emotion, tension, and tenderness, you keep reading long into the night. You ache to know what happens next. That's what you must become. A story he can't stop turning the pages of. But let me warn you, unpredictability should never be confused with emotional chaos. One comes from fullness, the other from fear. The chaotic woman acts from insecurity. She wants control, attention, validation. The unpredictable woman moves from depth. She expresses what's true, not what's convenient. If he pulls back and you panic, that's chaos. If he pulls back and you smile, trusting your rhythm, that's power. A woman who's unpredictable from wholeness doesn't drive a man away. She makes him lean in. Men are fascinated by women who cannot be easily categorized. They don't fall in love with perfection. They fall in love with paradox. The tenderness that can also say no. The softness that holds strength. The quiet confidence that doesn't need to fill every silence. So ask yourself, what side of me have I silenced in the name of being safe? Maybe the playful side that used to laugh without checking who's watching. Maybe the daring side that once wanted to travel, to paint, to live wildly. Or maybe the soft side that stopped showing up because it was always misunderstood. Bring her back. She is the heartbeat of your magnetism. And let me tell you, something every woman must understand. If a man leaves because you no longer revolve around him, that is not loss. That is liberation. Because a man who vanishes when you step into your power was never seeking love. He was seeking control. He wanted a mirror, not a partner. You were never meant to mother his insecurities or manage his silence. You were meant to awaken his courage, to be the flame that reminds him what real connection feels like. When you embody that kind of unpredictability, graceful, grounded, genuine, you don't chase anyone. You walk in your rhythm, and life rearranges itself around you. And that, my dear, is where fascination begins. Now that you understand the power of unpredictability, the art of being alive, uncontained, untamed, it's time to go deeper. Because mystery alone makes a man chase, but depth makes him stay. What truly anchors a man's heart to yours isn't how perfectly you fit his fantasy. It's how uniquely you touch his emotions. Every man has known attraction, but only a few have known emotional imprint, that rare, unforgettable connection he can't compare to anyone else. That's what I call your emotional uniqueness value. Think about the people you naturally turn to in your own life. You have one friend who always knows how to make you laugh when the world feels heavy. Another who listens without judging. Someone who challenges you, reminds you of your strength, or simply makes you feel safe enough to breathe. They're not perfect, but they give you something no one else gives in quite the same way. That's what makes them irreplaceable. In love, the same law applies. Yet many women never realize this. They spend years exhausting themselves, trying to be everything for a man. The perfect lover, the perfect friend, the perfect caretaker, the perfect motivator. They believe if they just check every box, he'll never leave. But perfection doesn't create longing. It creates comfort, and comfort without mystery turns into emotional sleep. A man doesn't stay because you're perfect. He stays because something about you can't be replaced. Let that truth sink in. It's not your body that binds him. Bodies fade from memory. It's not even your beauty. Beauty becomes familiar. It's the emotion he feels, only with you. The way his soul exhales when you look at him a certain way, the clarity he finds in your silence, the spark you ignite in his mind, the peace or laughter or inspiration that exists only when you're there. That's the invisible thread that keeps him coming back. I once worked with a woman named Elise, a doctor, stunning, brilliant, capable. She did everything right. Cooked, cared, smiled, listened. She had mastered the art of perfection. But her partner, after 2 years, seemed bored, detached, distant. He wasn't cruel. He just drifted. When I asked her, if you disappeared from his life tomorrow, what would he miss most about you? She went silent. She couldn't think of anything specific. She said, everything, I guess. That's when I knew. She was extraordinary at everything, but unforgettable in nothing. We began exploring her essence. Beneath all her efforts to please, she carried a quiet power, the gift of perspective. When people around her were lost, she could see light in the dark. She naturally reframed pain into possibility. But she'd buried that under the weight of being the perfect girlfriend. So I told her to stop trying to fix, to stop performing. Next time he came home exhausted, she didn't rush to make dinner or comfort him. She simply sat beside him, breathed deeply, and began asking the kind of questions that opened his mind, gently, insightfully, like a mirror, reflecting his truth. Within weeks, something miraculous happened. He began to seek her, not out of habit, but out of hunger for her presence. He didn't crave her perfection. He craved her clarity. She had become his compass. Do you see the difference? Perfection impresses, but it doesn't touch the soul. Authentic energy anchors it. And here's the deeper truth. Your unique emotional value already exists inside you. It's not something you invent. It's something you remember. Maybe your power is lightness. You make others laugh when life feels too heavy. Maybe your power is wisdom. You help people see what they couldn't before. Maybe it's tenderness, the way you make someone feel safe in their rawest moments. Or maybe it's adventure, the fire that wakes others from their sleep. Whatever it is, it's the energy that flows from you effortlessly, without trying. You don't have to earn it. You only have to recognize it. Ask yourself, when do people around me feel most alive? What do my friends always thank me for? What compliments repeat over the years that I've brushed off because they felt too easy? There lies your gold. The tragedy is that so many women silence their natural brilliance trying to fit a mold. They hide the very quality that makes them unforgettable because they think it's not enough. They trade authenticity for acceptability and then wonder why they feel unseen. Your unique emotional power should never drain you. It should feed you, too. It's not your job to be a man's emotional nurse, therapist, or mother. If what you give leaves you empty, it's not love, it's self-abandonment. Your gift is sacred. It must nourish you as much as it touches him. When you live from that place, when your laughter is genuine, your insight spontaneous, your softness real, your presence becomes addictive in the most beautiful way. A man's brain begins associating you with a specific emotional experience he cannot find anywhere else. And when that happens, you no longer have to chase. His own instincts lead him back to you. It's neuroscience and soul combined, the repetition of emotional reward. Just like a song that transports him to a memory, or a scent that makes him feel home, your energy imprints itself into his nervous system. Every time he remembers you, he feels that specific emotion, safety, joy, inspiration, peace, and without even understanding why, he wants to return to the source. But here's where most women lose this power. They give it constantly, endlessly, like an open faucet. They think generosity equals love. But when something extraordinary becomes too available, it loses its value. Your emotional essence should be like perfume, subtle, rare, offered at the right moment. Let him miss your light. Let him crave your peace. Let him wonder what you're thinking instead of knowing it all the time. Because absence, when born from fullness, deepens presence. A woman who understands this doesn't withhold love. She measures it with wisdom. She knows that timing, silence, and space are part of the language of desire. And when she gives, when she finally speaks, touches, or smiles, it lands with power. That is what makes a man remember her for years, even if they part. That is what makes her unforgettable. Now that you understand what makes you unforgettable, your emotional uniqueness, your mystery, your rhythm, it's time to learn the third movement, the one that ties everything together, the one that transforms attraction into reverence. I call it the art of strategic withdrawal. And let me tell you, this is not a trick. It's not a cold silence meant to punish, nor a game to make him chase you. It is a dance of energy, the wisdom of knowing when to step forward and when to step back, so that desire can breathe again. You see, most women have been taught that love means constant presence, always being available, always answering, always showing up, no matter what. But love, real love, needs space. It needs air to survive. The flame that burns too fast dies young. When you are constantly there, emotionally, physically, digitally, you rob him of the chance to miss you. You rob his soul of the hunger that makes him realize your value. Men, by nature, have a deep psychological relationship with space. They associate freedom with identity. When they feel cornered, emotionally or mentally, their instincts push them to retreat. But when they feel a woman is self-contained, when her world doesn't collapse without their attention, they begin to move toward her voluntarily. It's the paradox of attraction. When you stop reaching, he starts returning. Strategic withdrawal means creating moments of absence that are rich with meaning. It's not disappearing for weeks to play games. It's about knowing that sometimes silence speaks louder than explanation. Sometimes the most powerful "I miss you" is the one you never say. Let me give you an example. I once worked with a woman named Claire, who'd been in a 5-year relationship. Her partner had grown complacent. He came home, dropped his things, turned on the TV, and expected her to orbit around him like a loyal moon. She cooked, comforted, listened, encouraged, always giving, always available. But when she needed support, he was distant, distracted, or simply too tired. One day she asked me, "How do I make him love me again?" And I told her, "You don't. You make yourself visible again." The next evening, instead of waiting by the door, she was at her desk painting. She didn't scold him, didn't make a scene. She smiled softly and said, "Hey, dinner's in the oven. I'm just finishing something I love." Her tone was light, grounded, serene. He looked at her, confused, curious. For the first time in years, she wasn't centered around him. Within a week, something shifted. He started asking questions. He wanted to know what she was working on. He began cooking with her. He started trying again, not because she demanded it, but because he felt the energy change. That is the power of strategic withdrawal. It's about remembering that you are the garden, not the gardener. The one who blooms, not the one who begs for rain. When a man senses that your world continues to turn beautifully without his constant attention, his instincts awaken. He starts to see your presence as a privilege, not a possession. But let's be clear. Withdrawal must come from fullness, not fear. If you pull away, hoping to manipulate him, the energy turns bitter. He will feel the lack. But if your distance is born from self-respect, from joy, from engagement with your own life, he will feel the magnetism. Think of it like this. Cats run from those who chase them, but naturally approach those who stay still, centered, busy in their own world. Men have a lot of that same instinct. They come closer to what doesn't demand them. They trust what doesn't trap them. The art is in balance. You create moments of space not to punish, but to restore polarity, to give both of you the chance to rediscover each other. Start with emotional space. You don't have to absorb his every problem, fix his every mood, or respond instantly to every text. Let him sit with his own emotions sometimes. Let silence carry the conversation. That's not indifference. That's emotional maturity. Then there's communicative space. Change your rhythm. Some days respond quickly, warmly. Other days, take your time. Let life be your rhythm, not his notifications. The male brain thrives on anticipation. It's wired to seek the unpredictable reward. When your responses are authentic yet varied, you keep his mind engaged. It's not manipulation. It's psychology meeting truth. And finally, physical space. Stop rearranging your world around his schedule. If you have plans, keep them. If you want to rest, rest. If you want to go out, go. Your independence is not a threat. It's the fire that fuels attraction. When you are busy living, laughing, and growing, you radiate a fullness that makes him want to be part of your world, not the center of it. Remember, He cannot miss you if you never leave. Every moment apart becomes an invitation for his heart to wander back toward you. Every pause becomes a mirror, showing him what life feels like when your light isn't around. This is not a tactic, it's truth. When you stop overgiving, you give the relationship room to evolve. Because here's the secret that few dare to say out loud. A woman who is whole in herself, who knows when to be near and when to step back, doesn't make a man chase her. She makes him grow. She becomes his mirror of expansion, the one who doesn't need to control love to keep it alive. And in that rare balance, presence and absence, warmth and silence, love transforms from attachment into admiration. That is when a man doesn't just call you, he chooses you, again and again. When you begin to live like this, grounded, radiant, unpredictable, yet calm, something miraculous happens. You stop waiting for him to call, because you no longer need that call to feel alive. You start hearing something far more powerful, the voice of your own soul whispering, "Welcome back." You become a woman who no longer chases connection. You create it simply by being. Your presence becomes a frequency, steady, magnetic, undeniable. You don't seduce with appearance or words. You seduce with your wholeness, with the peace that moves through your body like music only you can hear. That is when love begins to change shape. A man may come toward you, yes. He may text, he may call, he may chase. But now his desire is not born of confusion or fear of losing you. It's born of recognition. He feels your authenticity. He senses your balance. He wants to be near the light you carry because it reminds him of something ancient inside himself, the longing to become whole too. That's why these three movements, unpredictability, emotional uniqueness, and strategic withdrawal, are not tricks to control a man. They are doorways to your own power. They return you to yourself. And when you live from that place, you naturally attract relationships that match your vibration. You stop repeating cycles with men who feed on your giving. You stop playing the healer, the caretaker, the endless source of comfort for someone who never fills you back. You start choosing differently. You start recognizing that the only love worth keeping is the one that grows beside your freedom, not against it. Let me tell you something few people dare to say. Being desired is not the same as being loved. Desire without respect is hunger. It devours. Love without mystery is comfort. It fades. But when respect, mystery, and desire dance together, that's when connection becomes sacred. That's what I want for you. When you walk through the world as a woman who knows her rhythm, you no longer wait by the phone. You no longer lose yourself in his silence. You no longer bargain with your worth. You understand that your essence is not up for negotiation. And the men who are meant for you, they feel that. They recognize your energy from a distance, the same way the ocean recognizes the pull of the moon. Because energy doesn't lie. When your heart is aligned, when your life is full, when you're living for something larger than being loved, that's when love finds you. Not as a rescue, but as resonance. Not to complete you, but to mirror what's already alive within you. You see, all this time, you were never trying to make him call. You were trying to make yourself remember. Remember the woman who never had to prove she was enough, because she was always enough. And when she finally stands in her truth, she doesn't just attract love, she becomes it. So let this be your reminder. Stop waiting to be chosen. You are already the choice. Stop waiting for someone to notice your worth. Stand in it. Let your silence be sacred, your boundaries be holy, and your unpredictability be the song that keeps life curious. Because the kind of woman who holds her own rhythm, who glows without noise, who gives from abundance instead of fear, that woman is unforgettable. She's not the one he calls out of convenience. She's the one he remembers when the room goes quiet, the one who lingers in his thoughts long after the conversation ends, the one whose laughter echoes in his mind when he's alone, the one who reminds him what it feels like to feel. So, don't rush to chase. Don't panic when he pulls away. Don't dilute your mystery to earn affection. Every time you return to yourself, you raise your frequency, and the world rearranges to meet it. Men who can't match it will drift. Let them. Men who can feel it will rise. Welcome them. Because love, when it's real, doesn't demand you shrink. It expands you. It meets you at your level of truth. And when that happens, you'll realize something profound. You never needed to make him call you. You just needed to remember the sound of your own voice. That is your fourth secret, the one that isn't in any title, the one that changes everything. Now, if these words resonated with you, if they woke something sleeping inside you, take a moment, like this video. Subscribe to Heartsync X. Share it with the women who've forgotten how magnetic they are, the ones who once gave too much, who loved too deeply without boundaries, who need to hear that it's not too late to come home to themselves. Because this isn't just a message about relationships. It's a message about awakening. Every woman carries a pulse, a fire, a rhythm that cannot be copied or silenced. And once she remembers it, no man, no silence, no distance can take it away. So walk through the world today, knowing this. Your power doesn't come from being wanted. It comes from being real. Your beauty doesn't come from being flawless. It comes from being whole. And your magic doesn't come from who calls you. It comes from who you become when you finally answer yourself. Thank you for listening, for feeling, for daring to rise. This is Heartsync X. And remember, your essence is your strongest weapon.